This is going to give the dollar a run for its money. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk a little bit more about the BRICS currency. Now, this is going to be a game changer for a large part of the world. Let me back up a little bit and explain what's going on. I've covered this story before on this channel about BRICS, and if you don't know, that's an acronym. It stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This is a consortium, a conglomerate, a group. I don't want to say alliance. That's a very strong word, but these countries work together on trade and things of that nature. So here's an example. Normally, like, let's say China and Brazil, if they were to engage in trade, what they would do is convert their native currencies into US dollars and trade that way. But when you have the BRICS currency, there's no need to have the dollar middleman anymore. They can just use their own currency. Now, when I covered the topic before, I was speaking about how the BRICS currency is going to have a crypto element, a digital element. And they want to have a similar thing over here in the West. CBDC, that's a central banking digital currency. And BRICS is going to kind of be on that same level. But the key difference is that BRICS is going to be backed by gold. That's going to be a big thing. We used to have the gold standard here in the U.S., but that's been gone for a very long time. And as a result, we got this ridiculous fiat currency that doesn't really mean anything. It's not worth anything. The thing that keeps our currency afloat in the West is the military and some complicated other factors. But the main thing, military and trade. Without that, without our importance in the world, the dollar would be just completely trash. All right, it would be complete trash. And before I go any further, we have a news clip from RT. If you want to see the clip in full without my commentary, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
The BRICS group is set to introduce a new currency backed by gold, in contrast to the credit-backed US dollar, with countries lining up to join the growing initiative.
The BRICS countries are planning to introduce a new trading currency which will be backed by gold. More and more countries recently expressed desire to join BRICS.
Now I'm going to pause right there because I've said it before. BRICS, as I said, is an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But there are a bunch of other countries that are going to want to get in on the fun. Iran's going to be in there. A lot of other like former Soviet satellites, some Chinese satellites, some African nations. You might even have a Pakistan or somebody like that on it. Because the thing about the BRICS currency is that if it is a true US dollar competitor, then you can evade some of the US sanctions. So there's all kinds of sanctions put on Iran, Russia, countries like that from the U.S., maybe even in North Korea. But if you can use a BRICS currency rather than the U.S. dollar, the U.S. will have less dominance and less power over these countries. So that, I think, is going to be a driving factor behind other countries joining BRICS, aside from the founding countries.
The decision comes a month ahead of scheduled Alliance Summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. 41 countries have since shown their interest in BRICS membership and its new currency implementation. Russia's foreign ministry has stated that if African states show enthusiasm, the group's expansion may also be on a Russia-Africa summit's agenda in the end of July. As of now, the BRICS group remains comprised of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. Former Statistician General of South Africa, Pali Lehola, says the gold-backed currency will facilitate the advancement of developing countries.
Avoiding using the gold standard, we have gone for almost 45 years now, since 1980 when this was dropped. And we have seen the consequences, particularly of this to the developing countries, when the dollar was adopted as a standard and gold not as such. Yet against that, there's been accumulation of gold in the developing world. South Africa had a much stronger currency when the gold standard was still in force. By going the gold standard by many countries, that many African countries, of course, have, this will be of great benefit to strengthening the currency, the single currency that is backed by gold. It will facilitate development because, after all, currency is the quantity of material things that societies have. If you use another currency based on material wealth or material things you don't have, it means that you are at the mercy of that country, and and they will charge commissions and the like.
Right on. So shout out to the BRICS nations for having a gold-backed currency. This is really big. This is going to mean a lot for the U.S. because, part of the strength of the dollar is the fact that it is the world's reserve currency. That's another part of it, because I was talking about the military and our economy, how important we are to the world over here in the U.S., but also our currency is the world's reserve currency. As I was saying earlier, certain nations, again, China, Brazil, Russia, India, they're going to trade with each other by exchanging their currency into U.S. dollars and working that way. But if that's not there anymore, that's going to weaken the U.S. dollar. And we're not doing ourselves any favors over here. We're you're talking about it's backed by credit. We got a whole lot of debt. How much debt do we have right now? 31 trillion is some kind of ridiculous number. So, and that is because there's no gold backing. It's just debt. It's just pure debt, and that's it. That can't really continue. And if you have a strong gold-backed currency, that's going to be a true U.S. dollar competitor. So hopefully we don't get affected too much over here in the West by that. That's going to be a problem. All right. That's definitely going to be a problem. But I think it'd be good for these developing nations to align themselves with Brazil, Russia, India, have their own thing over there. And as far as the West, I think we could still hang on. We could still have a strong economy as long as we continue to innovate, as long as we continue to just create things, consume things. As I close, I want to say this. If the U.S. and the Western world in general does not get back to production, because what we've done really is hand over the power of an economy to other nations. We've given the production power to China, to India, to outside countries. The very same countries we've given power to, and Russia for our energy, the very same countries we give power to fuel us will be able to operate on their own without relying upon us when it comes to the currency, when it comes to trade. So where does that leave us? We got to bring back the production. We got to stop spending so much money we don't have. And maybe we should get back to our own gold standard, but that's easier said than done. I think we are addicted to printing debt, causing inflation. It doesn't really matter. We print more money and we spend more money, and we keep kicking the can down the road. And maybe the BRICS currency will force us to stop that action. But as of right now, I'm not sure it's going to happen anytime soon. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about the BRICS currency being backed by gold? You think it's going to be a hit? You think that it's going to be something that is going to put the West in danger as far as our economy, as far as where did we live? Are we going to have the same standard of living after the BRICS currency debuts, if it debuts? Because I was on Twitter and there was a note talking about, there's no real plan to create a BRICS currency, but there is. There's going to be a conference in South Africa next month in August. Putin's going to be there. Everybody's going to be there, and they may debut it right then. They may debut that currency right then. So this is going to be a very interesting time. I say keep your eyes to these proverbial streets, to the financial markets, and see how the markets react, see how these countries operate. And I think within the next few years, we're going to feel an impact over here in the States, whether they be positive or negative. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.